Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Marvel Rewind. We are here to talk about Loki, and I will be your guide through this time adventure. I am Brian, here with my Apocaflix co-hosts, Jacob, Gio, Keith, Jake. I'll go one at a time. Jacob, how you doing?
Pretty damn well, man. I watched this episode twice, so I'm ready to talk about it. But I'm also realizing
I did too.
All the connections. Marvel Rewind, it's all connected to time. Let's get going.
All right, Keith, how you doing?
I'm good. I also watched this twice.
Nice.
Damn, you guys were clearly lazy as shit today.
Last night and today.
I watched last night. Yeah, the same thing. And I watched it in the morning too. It was good show. So I'm good. Glad to finally be on one of these shows for Marvel Rewind.
Yay!
Right from the start.
Yay, Mr. Gio.
Hey, I'm doing good, Brian. I'm so glad you're hosting. Because
I'm so much better than
some
Jacob.
explanation with this show.
Don't come to me.
But I'm good. I just saw it like literally 5 minutes before I got here, so I try to keep it fresh in mind. It's been working. It's been working better for me that way, especially on Vandalorian Club, because it's like I can ask the right questions. So excited for this, man.
All right, Krabby Pants.
What?
I like that you just know how that like it's you I'm talking about by just saying that.
How
But
the
Jake,
hell
how
am
you
I
doing?
crabby? What?
How you doing, Jake?
Anyway, I can take over this
Oh,
hosting
man.
spot so quickly if I wanted to. Anyway, I'm
Be my guest.
good. I'm ready to talk some Loki. Look, I wasn't looking forward to this series as much as some others last year, but the first episode has proved me wrong in many ways. And I will say this. I have never laughed at something so hard in so long that happened in this episode, and I will reveal that very shortly. I watched it at work. That's how my days go sometimes. I have to watch it at work while I'm working, and I broke out in pure laughter so loud, and I'll talk about it here soon.
I'm really curious
Jesus,
what that
you
is.
just dragged out for 30 seconds. What part? Let's just go straight into it. What part are you laughing
I think
about?
I know which part. Yeah.
What part do you think, Gio?
When he's testing the remote and keeps sending the TVA agent. No, okay.
So it's very early on in the episode when he's going through the trap doors, and he gets to the one that looks like the
robot thing?
the detector, and the robot line where he goes, wait,
Do people
what if
not
I'm
know
a
they're
robot and I
robots?
don't know? I died.
Yes.
I died the way it was delivered after the response of the guy going, "Oh yeah, robots just
Melts
disintegrate," and he goes,
Melts you from the inside out.
"Wait, what?" And I was dying, absolutely dying of laughter.
Well,
I don't know
the
the
way
last
he-
time I laughed like that. I do not know the last
way
time I
he-
laughed like that.
The way he hesitated before he went through.
Oh
he's
my
like,
god, it was so good. And then,
It was pretty
then
good.
when he walks through and he's looking, he's like,
yeah.
"Oh, Tom Hiddleston is so good."
I love
was
that
awesome.
scene too. That was a great scene.
But yeah, so we are going to be your TVA guides through this Loki timeline and try to figure out what the heck is going on in this movie or this show. But yeah, so Jake, you just kind of threw out a part you liked. Gio, give me something that you enjoyed, or something you took out of it that you liked.
Well, Chuck kind of hinted at it, but the back and forth between Owen Wilson's character, is that his actual name?
Mobius. It's Mobius.
Yeah, minus the E.
Yeah, just Mobius.
Okay, Mobius and Tom Hiddleston's Loki. I mean, there was definitely a large part of their interaction where, he was kind of like a therapist, and it turned into a deconstruction of sorts of the Loki character. But just their overall like back and forth, and he would sometimes match Loki's wit and sarcasm, and I appreciated that. And I didn't think Owen Wilson would be. Well, I'm not gonna say that. I was curious about how Owen Wilson would fit and how much Owen Wilson mannerisms we would get in a role like his. But I gotta say, I'm impressed.
He crushed it. I mean,
Yeah, he did pretty good.
because you sometimes with actors, it's hard to see the characters because they're like such big names, right, and like such big personalities. He is sometimes kind of fits that bill because he does a lot of comedies, and you're like, Owen Wilson is great at that, and he kind of like has always been stuck in that position. But in this role, like when I was watching, I was like, that's not like really Owen Wilson. Like I feel like this dude is like a legit TVA, giving Loki the lowdown. He fit the build of this like agent time travel dude. And the banter between the two of them was fantastic. The scene where we're going through the other Loki's life was bonkers.
Yeah.
Bonkers.
It's funny because I felt like he was just kind of like playing a normal person. Like he wasn't like trying to be comedy. Yeah, just that like normal sarcastic every once in a while, like funny quip.
But he still has that Owen Wilson edge about him.
Oh, of course.
When he's talking to Gugu and Botham Ra, he's like, I like that I'm looking up to you. It's proper. Like that type of stuff. Like it's still like Owen Wilson style, but I get what you guys are saying. He didn't like take over the character. He kind of became the character, which I liked a lot.
That's a great way of putting it. That's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, that's great. Jacob, something you liked?
I mean, we'll probably get more into depth on this, but when he watched his death scene at the end, like, and the way the music was playing, and I think watching that is what is going to kind of change him a little bit, because obviously this is the Loki from Avengers, right after Avengers, right? So it's a little different than the Loki we knew. So I think seeing that was his fate is going to like kind of put him down a path to kind of change. So we'll see. But that was the big moment for me.
Okay. Keith, something you liked?
Yeah, that's exactly the same as mine. Jacob, the scenes where he's watching his life that has not happened to him yet.
Mm-hmm.
All this stuff unfold, and just the performance is incredible by Hiddleston, but him reacting to all this stuff that he has no idea about, But seeing everything that I guess is supposed to happen, but it kind of
has to happen, not to
has to happen. Yeah, apparently, yeah. So kind of, it really had me really like, where is all this going to go? Because what if for some reason he doesn't go back and none of this happens? Like what's going to happen? I don't know. So, but yeah, that was definitely exactly the same as mine. My favorite scenes too. Also the DB Cooper.
Like the DB Cooper thing was amazing.
That
was amazing. The interesting thing is like, so he said in the dialogue, he said he can't go back.
All right. Exactly.
He can't
go back to my
And so it's gonna be interesting to see. And like Jacob said, like it almost felt like this was the catalyst to changing all-out villain Loki to I'm gonna help you, Loki. Essentially, is what this whole episode was kind of felt like. Because he even said in that moment, he goes, "I don't like hurting people. Like I don't. It's all part of the illusion." And we're starting to see that Loki that we kind of came to know in Thor 2 and Thor 3 and Infinity War, and he's kind of coming through a little bit. And I know a lot of people are saying like, "Oh yeah, the episode doesn't have a lot of action." It was never meant to have a lot of action. This episode, it was a total setup. It was a total setup for everything that's going to happen, and they did it so brilliantly. The writing is incredible. The writing is so good. The design of everything is absolutely fantastic. And how about the opening scene recapping Endgame? That was dope.
I enjoyed that.
That was dope.
Yeah. For me, I just enjoyed Tom Hiddleston just in general. Like he has like figured out this character to a T. Like he embodies every aspect of this character, like mannerisms, tone of voice, like everything. He has just perfectly mastered this character, and it's probably honestly one of the reasons why they keep him around, because like he's perfect at this role. Like they could have easily just stopped after Infinity War with him, but like he's just that good that they want to keep him going. But so yeah, there was, like Jake said, multiple things that happened throughout this. I just want to dive straight into it, and let's hit that scene where he's just in line and basically just bombs keep getting dropped all over the place with that like cutesy little clock, and then just completely just blows our brains. There was a multiverse war almost at one point.
Oh, you know what that's setting up.
Oh, 100%. So yeah, anyone want to jump into that scene?
Well, I'll say this. So when all these shows were announced originally, the question we had is, well, how does Loki fit into all of this?
Oh yeah,
right.
I was thinking that till 11:59 last night. We
were all wondering, okay, like it's awesome, like it's inside the MCU. It's the TVA. TVA is very big in the comics and in moments, but how does it fit into the current MCU timeline? The first episode, they drop madness, multiverse, and war all in one sequence. That to me screams this show might be the most important to everything outside of maybe WandaVision to an extent. This, whatever happens in this show, and we saw it with when we saw like dozens of Infinity Stones locked in a drawer and the Tesseract wasn't working. Apparently, everything going on in the show is going to be just as important, if not the most important thing going forward. And I'm incredibly intrigued. Like that's very interesting because we have no clue where it can all go. Like we had an idea for WandaVision, right? We had an idea for Falcon and Winter Soldier. This is a blank slate, an absolute blank slate.
I think that minute and a half of the clock, and that
like
was
the little exposition by Miss Minutes.
Yeah. That honestly, I have no idea who that is.
She is like one of the most prolific voice actors of all time. She's voiced dozens of female Harley Quinn, Batwoman, like all these characters for a long time.
Well, she made me laugh every time she was like, she'd be saying something like, "You're gonna die," and it's just like sounds funny.
Brian, how fast are you gonna buy that pop figure of Miss Minutes?
It's funny. I thought about it. I don't know if I'm going to. I'll think I might. But I think that I will get to that. It's in I made a little note sheet. I think that minute and a half is literally the next. They literally just explained to you what's going to happen. Like we had Infinity War, 23 movies. I think that minute and a half is your
next
example
it's the next
of your next phase of stories is coming directly off of that.
It's a multiverse war. It's 100% a multi, and we knew this, but that line.
A multiverse war? I don't think we knew.
We maybe thought it might end with Doctor Strange, but I don't think it is. Because if you think about Ant-Man and I don't know what they're called. Oh, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is going to have Kang in it, and I think that's all going to tie in to this stuff too.
It looks more so than ever. Like when we got to like the phases with the MCU, right? Like they would always have these connected movies, but then when we went back to like something like a single Captain America movie, it was slightly connected. But it was also in its own vein.
Mm-hmm.
It almost feels like everything is literally a sequel to the one before it. It almost feels like that's what they're doing now. Is WandaVision like to Spider-Man 3 to Doctor Strange to Ant-Man 3 to they're all just sequels to each other now, and that's super exciting.
It's funny that you said like that because to me this episode almost hit a reset button and we're back to zero because of this show in a way. Like we're literally I felt like we were starting from movie one again. I'm waiting to see a little bit more of that.
I agree, but I definitely think the Secret War is going to be set up from this show.
So do I.
Yes, 100%.
If they do one, it will come from it. But Yeah, no, it's funny because correct me if I'm wrong. What Falcon and the Winter Soldier was originally supposed to be the first one out,
Yes.
right?
But it had
And
more
then
episodes originally too. Yeah.
But it went from that one to this, then WandaVision, correct?
No.
Are you sure?
WandaVision was bumped up when all that changed. Loki.
I'm talking the original slate before pandemic, all that stuff.
Yeah, Loki was never originally supposed to be the first.
No, I said Loki was supposed to be second.
Second, yes, second, yes.
Okay, I could tell through this because, like I was saying, Falcon and Winter Soldier fits perfectly the bow kind of that happened at the end of Endgame, past the shield, whatever. This one literally felt like it hit zero and started a whole new kind of like storyline. To me, I could absolutely see WandaVision starting after this.
Yeah, totally.
It's just me, because I could kind of, and I don't know how everyone else felt. Like, it literally feels like I'm starting at zero again.
Well, if you think about it, by the time when Loki left, right, with the Tesseract, Endgame was still going on, right? So this is way before WandaVision happens.
Yeah.
Before he goes to the TVA, because who knows what's going on when he's in the TVA, you know? But him leaving, taking the Tesseract and going to, I forget what country he goes to.
Mongolia.
Yeah, so him doing that, everything else is still going on in Endgame, but he created a new timeline.
Jacob, not even Endgame, it's Avengers. He left from Avengers.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it's way
depending on. Yeah. So he is, but there's characters in Endgame in that same scene too. So you know what I mean? Like it. Yeah. So basically, if you're counting it from even that point in Endgame, it's way before, WandaVision as well. So that would make sense.
Gio, thoughts on that whole thing that we saw right there?
Well, real quick, Jacob talked about when he went to a random country. Did anybody else get a call back to the first Iron Man with how he was laying there in the desert? Okay.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Zero. Like, it felt, there were certain things that literally felt like they were starting from zero, the OG Iron Man. Like, this is the 0 point moving on. Go ahead, Gio. Sorry.
No, I've learned my lesson with WandaVision. I'm just gonna let things play out. Like,
let's speculate, man.
Somebody said Mephisto in the chat.
Let's talk Mephisto. Come on, let's talk Mephisto.
Okay.
They've already confirmed he's not
like Mephisto, but just it was an interesting way to kind of give us some exposition of to kind of help explain and catch us up. We're watching that through Loki's eyes, everything from the multiversal war timelines battle, the sacred timeline, how they put everything in one. But then it raised more questions for me about the TVA and just like, I guess they pick and choose what they allow to happen or what doesn't. Like, I thought about Endgame. Like, okay, Loki. No, it wasn't Loki. Somebody mentioned that Endgame was supposed to happen, or they at least.
The judge. I don't know what her character name is.
The judge.
Her name is Renslayer, who is Kang the Conqueror's girlfriend. By the way, everybody.
Oh,
that is Kang the Conqueror's girlfriend.
Forgot about that.
Wow. They mentioned, they said that they don't. Loki goes, the Avengers were just traveling through time, and she goes, they were supposed to do that. That's what the timeline requested of them.
She's saying everything that they did in Endgame still was in line with the main timeline at the time.
And it goes back to Strange looking into the future. All those other futures he saw would have broken the timeline. They went on the one timeline that they were supposed to go to.
Yeah, because he was trying to blame the whole thing on the Avengers because they're the ones that went back in time and changed it. But then she was like, no. They were supposed to do that. You screwed up and got the Tesseract and went off. That you're the one that messed it up. So, yeah.
I will say real quick, and I'm taking this from Chuck. I just want to add this: the Miss Minutes thing is 100% a callback to Jurassic Park.
Oh
It's
yeah,
100% a
Mr.
callback to Jurassic
DNA,
Park and DNA,
absolutely.
which I thought was a really cool addition. Chuck's comment also very genius. Great, Chuck. Thank you.
Yeah. So, anyone else want to talk about that scene, Keith? Or want to jump to something else?
Which scene are you talking about specifically? I forgot.
The explanation of that timeline.
Oh, the animated thing. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was quite interesting. The timekeepers. Is that what they're calling? I wonder if
the three aliens. Yeah.
I was expecting. I was looking at their faces, and they look different. It could be a different version, but I was wondering what there's any relation to the living tribunal. Who does exist in this universe? In Doctor Strange, what's his name? Oh my gosh, what's the bad guy? His partner in Doctor Strange. Oh no, True Intelligent 4.
Mordo.
Yeah, Mordo. Yeah. He had the staff. His weapon that he had was the staff of the living tribunal, and so that's usually the being they go to for things like this, like when something happens or something that they think is not supposed to be happening in the universe, or they don't know, or whatever. They need a judgment on whether or not. I know in the Infinity Gauntlet saga, that's one of the first things they did is they went to the living tribunal to see if Thanos was breaking any universal laws, and it was like, no, Thanos is just replacing your importance with his own. He's not breaking any laws. It's just natural selection. And so I was kind of expecting, and you see in the judge the room, they got the three heads of the timekeepers behind it. I wonder if just that's a variation on the living tribunal or not, or I don't know. I'm curious about how that's going to turn out, just because even though they're saying, okay, well, that's the Avengers, like none of that would have happened if the Avengers weren't going back in time, though. So it is kind of fascinating. If the Loki even asked the question, like, well, who decides what's supposed to happen and what's not? Like, whose authority is that?
I love when he calls them the three-faced lizard people.
yeah.
But also, Owen Wilson's character says that, like, he says, don't look at it as allowing or not allowing, and then he kind of just stops talking there.
Right.
And so we really don't know how it all works yet.
Exactly. And Loki's asking like the right questions. Like, well, wait a minute, what is this? Like, and because for him, he's like, how come I've never heard of this? Like, he's from Asgard. Odin's his father. And he's never heard about any of this.
Loki's like, I'm the smartest, most powerful person in the universe. I should know about the TVA. And he obviously tries to escape so many times and he can't.
It's a need to know basis.
Just awesome, yeah.
But yeah, and then since it's been brought up multiple times, well, actually, hold on before we hit that. And then we also hear them say that like Loki leaving is a Nexus event, like it's a Nexus level event, which we obviously know.
Oh, did they say that?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I missed that.
Miss Minutes said it. Yeah.
Which creates madness, he says.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So obviously call back to WandaVision because they said that. Yeah, don't mess with his clothes. And since it's brought up, let's just go to it. The nightmare little drop that they said, if you want to set something on fire, go there, or whatever his line was. Anyone want to? I think
they said the nightmare department or something. Yeah.
So, anyone want to jump on that?
I mean, we've talked about Nightmare enough to know that at some point the character is going to pop up, and it very well could be Doctor Strange 2. We still don't know exactly who the villain of that movie is. We've heard that Sam Raimi is doing some very crazy Sam Raimi things in that movie, and Nightmare kind of fits the build for that type of stuff, right? That's the type of character it is, and the character has been rumored for a long time. And if this movie if this series is as connected as it now seems, this very well could set up the villain for something like Multiverse of Madness. And if it is in fact Nightmare, I mean, I'm down for it. I think the character is really cool, very formidable villain. They can do some very interesting things with the character if it is connected to the TVA and then throwing it in Doctor Strange 2. It makes us now pay attention a little bit more because it seems, and we're only one episode in, and we also don't know how many episodes this show is. There hasn't been given an exact.
Isn't it 6?
Yet. I don't know if
Still
6 was announced. I don't know if it was exact. If it was, I missed it. I missed it if it was announced as 6.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
thought
I don't. On IMDb it says 6, but I don't know.
Okay, I thought it was originally 8. That's why I asked. So okay, so it's 6. So 6 episodes, and they seem like they're an hour long, which is awesome.
So that could be the last time we ever hear the thing Nightmare mentioned. Also,
It very well could be, but if
In
it
this
does set up
series.
stuff, if it does set up stuff, I mean, I don't think Nightmare is going to be like the villain, but there's obviously a department dedicated to something like that, and that's enough of a setup to know that the character is 100% coming in some capacity.
I think that's what they were acknowledging, is that whatever trouble Nightmare causes, there's a department that deals with that.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool Easter egg there.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I wanted to jump on, and Keith, you already said it too, was the little glass painting. What are they called? Glass somethings of the devil. I know I saw it. Keith saw it. I don't know who else saw it. That the director said that that's not a Mephisto. Like, that's just purely coincidence. What? Gio?
I thought it was Mephisto. There I am. I'm wrong again.
No, they flat out said he's like, it's
The
pure
director said
coincidence. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was supposed to be Loki, though, right? Causing
said it's
that
supposed to be
trouble in
Loki.
that first scene.
Okay, thank you for stealing my thunder.
No, I'm asking. Yeah, I'm asking.
Yeah, I think the picture is Loki. Personally, that his
She said
like,
the director said it was Loki.
Oh, did he say it was Loki on the picture? I mean, the thing that gave it away to me was how his horns in the picture are shaped. It looks like his hat that he wears. Like,
That's what she
so,
said.
yeah. So that's what I immediately thought. I saw it and I went, "Oh, that's his horns."
But they got to
it's
be
not-
careful with this. It totally could be misinterpreted as a Mephisto reference or something,
I'm sure that they will, and I'm sure also Mephisto isn't handing out packs of bubble gum to little kids.
True.
Did you see the name of the bubble gum?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what it said, but I remember
It was-
looking at
it
it
was
when it popped
Kablooey.
up.
Kablooey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, oh, look at Jake has a thing. So yeah, his
There you
horns are kind of do that little shape a little bit, I guess.
Oh,
But,
and she said that because he fell out of heaven like Lucifer did, and so that's people interpreted him as being the devil. You know, like if you go back to the first Thor movie, where they were talking about how the Asgardians coming from Asgard from space, and primitive people would have worshipped them as deities, which is exactly what in this universe exactly what they do. So they just mistake them for.
I mean,
gods.
he literally fell from Asgard
from heaven.
in the first movie.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know if anyone wants to touch on that one. Gio, I'm sorry to blow your
Okay.
bubble on that one.
Well, he fell just super quick, really quick. The fact that you mentioned Gio, the Iron Man thing, that's exactly the first thing I thought too. But I know the Tesseract is the space stone, but I was kind of wondering too, because he's in Mongolia in the middle of the desert, like maybe he was off in a different time. Like they may not even have been 2012 for whatever reason.
In
I know they're
Mongolia,
arrested.
Mongolia is not even a country.
That's what I'm saying. It could have been
What?
hundreds of years ago. I don't think it is, right? Is it? I don't know.
Mongolia
No,
is a country.
Can you
Uh,
travel
no,
through
I-
time with
Isn't
just
it
the
Siberia?
Tesseract?
Jake,
though?
I don't think Mongolia is a country.
Mongolia is a country.
Yeah,
Is it?
Is it
What?
still?
It's a
I
country.
thought
It's a
so.
country in East Asia.
Yeah, it's a
East Asia.
Oh,
country.
is it?
Far East.
So I think it was still 2012. He just went to that
Oh.
country.
Whatever.
Well,
Okay.
I was, and this is just a nitpick, but I was also curious, like, why did the Tesseract take him there? Like, why didn't it take him to like somewhere else out? And
Who knows?
Space.
I mean, it must have been him
The other
deciding.
side
He's
of the
like,
universe.
He was just like, just get me out of here. Boom.
I know, right? Like, literally, I like, look, it's a total nitpick at the end of the day. Like, it does not matter.
I thought about that too.
But it's just a curious choice. Like, there?
Like why didn't he go to another planet? Another planet or something.
When it happened in Endgame, that's the first thing I thought. It's like, oh, he just went to the other side of the universe somewhere. Like he wouldn't somewhere else.
He stayed on Earth. Well, he probably is like, no, I'm still taking over Midgard. Nobody's stopping me.
He's determined.
That's probably what he was
that's
thinking.
exactly it. That's exactly.
For the record, I looked up why I said Mongolia is not a country. It's because I was thinking the Mongolian Empire. Is not a thing anymore.
Oh, sure. Mongolian Empire.
But yeah. So all right, bye, Jake.
Well, thank you.
Oh, why?
I gotta head out. Have a good conversation, fellas. I'll see you guys next time.
All right, man. We'll see you.
Hey, man.
So the next thing I had was the fact that, and did anyone catch this? They mentioned it a couple times. The whole temporal aura. Temporal. I can't say that word.
Yeah, when he went through the scanner thing, and he was like, "What's that?"
And they said it again.
They were checking the bubble gum for in the beginning in the church. They were checking the bubble gum. And then another.
That might have been what I was thinking of. Yes. So there's something with that. It was when he went through
they can like scan items or something and see if it has somebody's aura on it, basically.
I think so.
Something along that line. Thank you, Keith. I was trying to think what the other one was, and it was the gum. Him saying, scan it for temporal. I can't say that word. The aura. And so I think that's something that's going to be something to keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Moving forward. I don't know if anyone caught that, said that.
Well, I was thinking about it when I didn't notice that they mentioned it twice, but when he went through the little scanner thing or whatever during the robot scene, I was like, oh, that's going to be important. Like that his temporal aura or whatever is going to be very important for some reason.
Yeah, the guy didn't really want to talk about it either.
I also like that. Look, we know Loki has his ups and downs, but like I like that they were like, are you a being that some cultures would say have a soul? And he's like, as far as I know. And it's like he went through, and because basically it was saying if you don't have a soul, you're not going to be able to cross through this thing. And it's basically telling us that Loki has a soul, which usually means like there's some good left in somebody, you know?
I wouldn't go that far.
In storytelling, like if they say somebody has a soul or they don't have a soul, then it's like evil and good, kind of.
I think they just so he's not Ultron.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that too.
Or Vision type thing, because Vision would have died too. Which is funny that did anyone notice that there was no Mind Stone in the Infinity Stone drawer? Anyone catch that?
I didn't pause.
There were two soul stones.
Yeah.
Tons of purple, tons of red, tons of green, tons of blue. No yellow.
So if those are really Infinity Stones from different timelines, honestly, it kind of diminishes the power of Infinity Stones to me.
I actually hated it.
It really bothered me.
Thank you.
That is my major one negative of the whole episode.
I hated that.
That now I don't care about the Infinity Stones anymore. If you could just take them to the time variants and get rid of them. Like, so if Thanos is there with the gauntlet, useless. Like,
yeah, I actually hated that scene.
Yeah, me too. Unless it pays off somehow later.
Okay, I get that.
Chuck, I didn't see that.
Oh, what is? Well, let me see. I have to.
That in the credits, there was a soul stone on some paper.
Oh, like paperweight.
Oh.
But
yeah, okay. That makes sense. Well, whatever. Either way, I hated that scene. Go ahead, Keith.
Well, okay, I understand completely, but if there's multiple universes, the Infinity Stones are important in each of those universes. Massively important. Now, in the grand scheme of all reality, and when it comes to all the multiverse together, maybe not. Although, if you talk, I mean, they did say, okay, at the beginning of time, there was 6 singularities, and so, but if for some reason everything branched off into a bunch of them, and then they collected them all into one streaming timeline, maybe those are all stones from all the ones they collected from all the universes after the war, and they just throw them in that drawer there. and the one in the main timeline, maybe those are the ones that are important that Thanos try to collect, and the Avengers were trying to put back, and that's why they're saying the Avengers have to do this because those are the ones that are important. That's
I still hate it. I still hate it.
Me too, because what if somebody figures out a way to get in there and they take them and then go back to another timeline and use them, like,
I don't know,
and they're just sitting in drawers and used as paperweights, you know, like, I don't know.
That'd be a tough place to get into and do that.
You know, no, absolutely. Like, I don't even think Loki could have escaped if he tried.
Yeah,
like,
because he said they don't work.
So that's why he gave up. He's like,
yeah.
I'm not getting out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Jake just sent me the original slate, and I'm seeing where. Oh, okay. Loki was towards the back. Loki was after. Yeah, Loki was after WandaVision and Doctor Strange.
Oh,
in the original
right.
script.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because Doctor Strange was supposed to be out in February or something.
So the original slate was Black Widow, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Eternals, Shang-Chi, WandaVision, Doctor Strange, Loki, What If, Hawkeye, Thor. So it was towards the back. Interesting. That changed. That
I want to bring up something before we run out of time. And Jake mentioned that the writing was incredible. So the writer on this is Michael Waldron. If you guys, so he's what's his name's brother? Oh my goodness, from Game of Thrones. I drink and say things. What's his name?
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage's brother.
Is it really?
Yep. Okay. And Michael Waldron. He's wrote Loki. He wrote Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. Kevin Feige chose him to write his Star Wars movie that he's producing. And this is that's recent news. Like that's post pandemic. Like that's happening. So I was curious, how is this guy's writing? Like he wrote some Rick and Morty too. I never watched that show. And I love that from this one episode, he's an excellent writer. And it makes me very excited for Doctor Strange and whatever Kevin Feige does with the Star Wars movie. But like, to me, this guy knows Loki. If you pay like everything that's going on in this episode, it's all just like kind of analyzing the character of Loki. And to me, I appreciated that so much because one of my flaws in Thor Ragnarok is, and I love that movie, but that they depowered Loki. And because when Thor's holding him and putting him in front of and the hammer's coming towards him, Loki can get out of that. Loki could have escaped that planet, could have escaped the scar, in my opinion. Like they depowered Loki in that movie. And this didn't, because they're basically saying the Time Variance Authority is very, like, he says this is the most powerful thing in the universe, right? And he can't escape, but he tries to escape. He keeps trying. And so I can't say, oh, Loki could have escaped from there, because he tried and he couldn't. And then obviously all the stuff with his death and him watching his life flash forward. So I just loved the writing in this episode, bottom line.
Fair. And anyone else want to talk about writing? Because I only have one last thing, and then we literally can just whatever. No? Writing sucked for everyone? No, okay.
No, I mean, I think everybody enjoyed it because you guys are talking about the dialogue between Owen Wilson and him. And that I love how Loki's like, I will burn this place to the ground. He's like, start with my desk first. Like his rebuttals to Loki are like, he doesn't care that Loki's trying to threaten him and be intimidating. He's just like blows it off. So that was pretty funny.
That's fair. Gio, you want to say anything or no?
No, I mean, as far as the writing goes, I like how it, put Loki in a position to where he got to see who he eventually becomes through all these flashbacks. It's like we're watching him watch basically the MCU. And I thought that was very emotional. It once again showed that Loki, if he had a soft spot, a weak spot, it's his mother, Frigga. And I mean,
and
that's
Thor. I think a little bit of Thor too.
Yeah, Thor, and I guess his father as well. So his issues come down to just family matters. But I was wondering the whole time, like, are they going to show him dying? And they did. And it makes me wonder.
And they made the bone crack so much louder
made sure
too.
You hear that.
I was like, oh.
He was
Yeah.
horrified too.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be? I
Sure.
hate and love watching that scene when Loki dies. Like, it's so hard to watch, but it's a great scene.
Yeah.
So it just makes me think, like, is that Loki's end road, no matter where this show goes? Like, because
Oh,
that's,
interesting.
according to the TVA and the ones who are in charge of all of this, you know, that's your path. No matter what you
Right.
do, well, as long as the time variance has something to say about it, that's going to be your path. Unless he does something at the end to where he did the TVA a solid and they're like, this is your second chance. Go live it. And then boom, we have Loki for the next 10 years of MCU movies.
I'm down for that.
I think Loki's going to stay in the TVA personally, if the TVA doesn't get destroyed somehow. But the last thing I have is the whole evil Loki that's running around, if that's what it is. I think personally that last scene, what I got from it is, I think that evil Loki, or whoever that hooded character was, has been trying to get one of those reset buttons, and that reset button could potentially be something he wants to use on the sacred timeline. Thoughts?
As a means to destroy the TVA and their establishment.
Something that
Yeah. I mean, because I'm kind of along that idea that by the end of this, the TVA will be destroyed or something, and it will lead into Multiverse of Madness. Because that was one of my questions earlier in the episode was, what happens when one of those branches crosses that red line? You know, they've been able to prevent it, but something tells me as we go forward, that mysterious villain's character, which they believe is, I mean, he says, Owen Wilson says it, you know, that's, we're stopping you,
It's
basically.
You.
yeah.
The more that character keeps messing up stuff, I mean, they're going to get to a point where, you know, they're going to not be able to stop these timelines. And yeah, so I think you're onto something, Brian, as far as that character trying to destroy the establishment that is the TVA, and what's their history, the TVA and that mysterious character.
So is Lady Loki literally a female version of Loki?
It's
like
Loki.
it's just
Yep.
It's Loki, but a woman.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not like his sister or something.
No,
I think from what I may be wrong, Chuck or whoever's watching, maybe Brian, if you know, I think he made himself look like Sif. I think, and just kind of
well,
Lady
in the
Loki.
comics, I'm guessing.
In the comics,
like, are you talking the comics? I was
Yes.
like, I was like, I don't remember that happening ever in the MCU.
Are you saying we're going to see
comics.
Jamie Alexander, Keith?
She's coming back? You know that, right?
If that's what
she's in Thor.
She's coming back to
That's
Thor.
awesome.
She's in Love and Thunder. Yeah.
But I think I may be wrong, but I think I remember reading that.
It
before.
could
Maybe something
be
like just to mess with Thor.
So Owen Wilson said we're trying to find you, right? It could be the Lady Loki version of him.
Yeah,
possibly.
It could be.
Like that's what Chuck said. Please be Lady Loki was what made me think of it. So we did it at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it could be any type of version of him. I mean, he's a trickster he could be.
Yes.
It could be anyone.
Well,
So,
I'm almost rather see a female version of him than just him again. You know?
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Keith, bring her back.
Yeah.
Multiple Lokis, multiple Captain Americas.
Well, there's not going to be multiple. This Loki is a bad variant. Like, they're just trying to wipe him. So
Hey, listen,
at least
every
I think.
comic universe has multiple everythings. All right, we're getting multiple Spider-Man
Yeah.
coming up. We got in the other universe, we got multiple
You're about to have multiple
Batman.
Batmans. What are you talking
Okay.
about?
Yes, there's 2 Flashes. You know, there's a bunch of Flashes actually.
Yeah.
Speedsters, but you know, there's always multiple everybody. So, you know.
But for me, I tried to make a list of all the main talking points. Anyone else have anything they want to?
Yeah, so TVA, what are they going to do about Gamora? Because Gamora exited her timeline, is now in the present main MCU. The last time we saw Star-Lord, he's like, I'm going to go find her. Because she
I think
probably
they're
left
gonna.
after it.
I think they're just gonna say that was supposed to happen. Don't ask me.
I don't know.
I'm kind of with. Yeah.
No, I'm okay
Listen,
with that.
we may
That's
it's
fine.
only look, it's only 1 episode in. Maybe there might be a reference to that later. We might see it on a screen somewhere, or somebody's, you know, that hey, they're looking for her, or they're looking for the
Well,
Guardians
remember
to try to
the end scene when they say some guy's trying to get rich to oil. They said, "Should we report it?" They're like, "Nah, too much paperwork." So there could be stuff that is worth them going after, but the Minutemen are just
doing
like,
it.
you know what? I don't want to do this. Like, this is not worth my time. So they just let it go.
Maybe.
So we
Yeah.
saw that an example of that in this episode. So that could be a reason why some small stuff like that gets let go.
Because there's some similar.
Possibly.
This is similar to and Brian. I don't know if you, you know, in Umbrella Academy, the commission in the Umbrella Academy, sort of similar. The TVA is kind of similar.
Yeah.
Where they kind of let stuff.
Yeah, it's funny
that they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny because I've been trying to think of something that there's something that sounds really that this is being very similar to. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So, any other? But that's a good point, Gio. That's a very good point that I didn't even think of. Is if they're just gonna say that that's supposed to be like that, or how that works.
That's
I mean, we don't technically know where she is, so I doubt she went back or something. But
I mean, the only way she would go back is she literally hitches a ride with Captain America and goes back.
True.
But it's just I don't know. That's such a dangerous precedent, you know, where you like, they just decided that's that, so just go with it. And it's just like, what? Like,
well, if we're gonna play that game, there's like 100 things that happen in younger Thanos coming from his timeline to fight the Avengers in Endgame. Like that could have been a variant. Gamora killing Gamora could have been a variant. Or no, excuse me, Nebula killing Nebula could have been a variant. Like there's so many things you could ask. Why didn't they step in and handle this?
And yeah, so I guess best not to overthink it then, I guess.
Yeah.
Don't ask questions, I guess.
Come on, Gio, we get one ask, right? That's the ask.
Yeah.
Hey, my guy using it wasn't mine, you know, somebody else's thing against argument.
There you go.
Yeah.
Was that Peggy Carter?
Where?
When he first gets the whatever that thing is that Owen Wilson uses, Owen Wilson leaves the room. He goes back in. Loki's gone. He ends up in another sector in the hallway. A door opens behind Loki, and a lady walks through with a TVA agent. And I saw on Twitter this morning before I even watched the episode, people were like, "Is that Peggy Carter?"
It wouldn't surprise me if she's involved in the TVA, to be honest.
That's odd. That would be odd. I wonder why, though.
Let me show you.
When?
Oh, right here.
Oh, I see what you're talking about, Gio.
Here, allow me to share, please. Let me so you guys can see what I'm talking about without audio, because I don't want to skip banned or kicked off. Here it is, right here. What do you guys think?
I can see where you're saying it.
I can see that. Yeah.
That'd be funny because she made out with Captain America at the end of the movie. That's why she's getting brought in. or Steve Rogers.
Yeah,
I should
maybe
say.
they're bringing
Well,
her in for
listen,
questioning.
maybe
what is Captain America
yeah,
doing?
because of what he did. Because if he stayed
mean-
there and made a family with her, maybe that was.
So, what is being reset? Does that mean you're put back in your
Wiped.
memory wiped, put back in your timeline, or does that
You
mean
they don't
stop
show.
that variant doesn't exist anymore. So like it just goes back. You just are back in the timeline.
Are you sure?
'Cause
I don't know.
he's-
I mean, probably, but they don't actually show what it does.
I took it as so like imagine like you're following your normal like whatever, then Loki for that whatever second like went to like using his own brain, so he kind of created a new persona. I think that it's wiping that persona and we're going back to the no.
That's what I figured. I mean, that's essentially killing this Loki in a way.
Yeah.
So
yeah, makes
like
sense.
the Men in Black thing. That's what I was thinking it was. Like
that's what I
whoever
figured.
saw
Like
that
I didn't know if
person
they
and-
actually wipe his memory and then physically take him back and put him back, you know, or if they do something else.
I don't know. We have more to figure out, I guess. But wrapping up, closing thoughts. I would like to know if we liked it, loved it. What did we think? I'll start with Keith.
I love it. People, I cannot stand people complaining about the lack of action. The first episode, now this is the third show in a row.
And
where
Loki
the first
is not
episode
an
is
action-oriented character in the first place.
no. They don't go straight in. Exactly, they don't have to go straight into action. I mean, the Falcon and Winter Soldier, you know, they kind of set up what's going on. There was a brief action scene at the beginning of that first episode, but that was it. But so I kind of understand that. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, this is not an action-driven thing. This is going to be there's going to be action. We see it all in the trailers.
Oh yeah,
all that stuff's
sure.
coming. Yeah, all that stuff's coming. Everybody relax. You know, they got to set up what's going on first. And if it's time travel and fixing timelines and all that stuff might get more complicated than we know. So they gotta ease us in there. So, you know, but for a first episode, I think it's great. It's fascinating. I'm super intrigued. I was already excited about it, but I mean, I can't wait to see where this goes, man. This could change a lot of stuff, or not. Who knows? But it's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
I'm
just
happy to have
exactly the same.
Yeah, but I'm happy to have Tom Hiddleston playing Loki and seeing him do anything he's doing. I'm okay with it. So I'm in.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Jacob.
I absolutely freaking loved this episode, man. Like it especially after watching it a second time, like Loki is one of my favorite characters in the MCU, and he's not a villain anymore, but if you want to just take villain Loki, he's my favorite villain in the MCU. And I'm just so intrigued, like, just to get in his head and see, you know, his mind state and all that stuff. I love that. And then also in the background of the TVA. So it's a lot of fun. I don't want to get like too hyped from the beginning, but I really loved it.
Fair enough. Mr. Gio.
Something I want to say to all those people who are complaining about not enough action in this episode. What do you want? Okay, I mean, you complain about, you know, certain properties being, you know, certain amount of hours long, and you want your thing in 2 hours or 2 hours and 10 minutes, and you want action, you want them to explore the character so much and continue the world building and explore the world and etc. That's exactly what these Disney Plus shows are. It's an opportunity to further explore these characters and not have to cram everything together, okay?
Into 2 hours or whatever.
You're going to get your action. It's going to be there, okay? Like, really? You're going to question Kevin Feige after 23, 4, or 5 movies? I don't know how many. Whatever, okay? Like, you guys are going to watch it next week no matter what. So for myself, I really did enjoy it. I don't know if I love it. I have a lot of questions. I'm going to watch it again. I love that I did love the world expansion. Okay. We talked about the 9 realms and Midgard, Earth, out in the cosmic space, We've yet to explore, the underwater with Namor, the quantum realm, and now the TVA has their own little world. And who would have thought? It's fascinating. I enjoy the cast. I want to see more of Owen Wilson and Loki together. It looks like we're going to get that. It looks like we're going to get some characters who we've yet to see on the screen. I was going to say big screen. But as for the first episode, I'm in. Why not? I'm paying however many dollars on Disney Plus. So, that's not why, but I enjoy it. I'm looking forward to more of it. I'm looking forward to next week's conversation.
Fair enough. You want to know what's funny? Is I think I liked it the least out of all of us.
Interesting.
Wow.
I know. Did I love it?
No, honestly, love's a strong word. I'm trying to not say that as much, like about movies or TV shows, but I did love this.
I will say this. The first time I watched it, I didn't like it.
Interesting.
Did not like it. Second time I watched it, a little bit better. Do I hate it? No. I think there's just so much that needs to be talked about more that I'm just kind of like, okay, maybe I'll probably be on board completely after episode 2. But I loved all the characters and stuff like that. But yeah, didn't love it. I mean, for being like the person out of all of us that Marvel could do anything and I would love it. It kind of surprised me. So I'm not ruling it out. Like Gio said, like they know what they're doing. But I would like to see more before I start raving or going off about it. But yeah, that is going to do it for us here at the Marvel Rewind and Apocaflix movies. Thank you for joining us. I think this time slot worked out good for us. And you can catch us next week. I was going to say a week from today, but I guess it kind of is a week from today. But next week where we go into episode 2 of Loki. And hope you enjoyed it. If you don't already know, we do have a show on Friday, The Mandalorian, for all you Star Wars nerds like us. So it is at 4:00 on Fridays, if you would like to come join us there too. But for Apocaflix Movies, I am Brian. That is Keith. That is Jacob. That is Gio. And Jake left earlier. We'll see you guys next time.